The Silence, a veteran podcast, aimed to amplify the voices of veterans, create a safe space for authentic conversations about their experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We seek to break the stigma surrounding mental health and foster a community for support, resilience, and understanding. Through stories, expert insights, and candid discussions, we strive to inspire healing, promote awareness, and empower veterans on their journeys. Welcome.
Hey.
Get you an ashtray in here, man. You can smoke them if you got them, right?
See, that's why you do this.
Right.
All right, I'm going to give me one of those. Leave it there.
I just bought 6 cans tonight on the way here.
I'm not leaving anywhere. I got to get this.
All right. So, Derrick, we were talking, and I was really interested. You know, like, obviously, why'd you decide to join as a reservist? What were you originally sold on? You know, did you think you were going to go to school and become the scholar?
No, absolutely not. And see, since we're going to talk about what led to me being a reservist, I would like to say, first off, the Marine Corps actually wasn't my first choice.
Okay.
I originally wanted to go to Navy and go to Buds.
Okay.
And be a SEAL, but shit happens. It didn't work out that way.
Well, I mean, you couldn't pass swim qual 2 because of your ankle. So.
Well, see, then my ankle wasn't screwed up. The way my ankle got screwed up is, you know, obviously you remember when you get there and you're in receiving, you're running back and forth, whatnot, and one of the receiving drill instructors yelled at me to stop and turn around, and I did, but when my body moved, my foot didn't, and my ankle...
Broke that ankle.
Huh?
Yeah, basically broke that ankle over.
Yeah, I still don't have full range of motion like before it happened, so that's where it got screwed up.
You rolled that booger bad.
Well, it made a loud pop.
That's where you call my buddies at Veterans Educating Veterans, and they'll take care of you.
Oh, I love those people.
Oh, man.
Michelle is awesome.
They're fun.
I haven't gotten to talk to Robert yet, but it's coming.
Okay.
I'm still waiting on my records. Surprise, surprise. Always waiting on shit from the Marine Corps. So that has led me to make the decision that when I'm off for Thanksgiving, because I take that whole week. 2 days are company holidays, but I take the whole week.
That's awesome.
I told my wife, I said, as much as I don't want to, I'm going to the regional office in New Orleans. I said, I'm tired of waiting.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I got to call. In fact, I was supposed to call Michelle today and tell her that, but I forgot.
Good for you.
But those people they're awesome.
The regional office down in New Orleans, they are extremely helpful. They can bring all your stuff up. They can look at stuff. They can tag different things for you. They're extremely helpful. I mean, it sucks showing up and waiting and all the other different stuff. It's awesome if you're able to make an appointment, but who can make an appointment between here and heading all the way, you know? Anyway, that's completely different from what I was trying to talk about.
But anyway, with the whole, and actually what led to me joining the Marine Corps is a buddy of mine had gotten back from boot camp and he wanted to go see his recruiter.
Okay.
So, okay. I was the only one available to give him a ride. So I was like, screw it, when you want to go. So he told me a time to meet him at his house. I picked him up and, you know, fresh out of boot camp.
The recruiter wasn't Sergeant Peters, was it?
No.
Okay.
Laborde.
Okay.
He was a dumbass. He was a dumbass. Politely, and that's being polite about
Marines, got it. He was a Marine.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He didn't mean that, Sergeant Laborde. He didn't mean that.
Oh, no, yes, I did.
Okay.
I definitely meant that.
Maybe he meant that, Sergeant, but you.
But anyway, you know, at the time I was working 2 dead-end jobs. I was working 3 days a week at a feed store in Port Vincent. In fact, you may know which one I'm talking about. You may know. You ever been to Port Vincent?
No.
Okay. Have you?
Where you get to the turn before you cross over the bridge of Fred's, where you at?
Yeah. The Port Vincent Farm and Home Supply. I was making minimum wage. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed what I did. And then 3 days a week I was working at a yard where we took totaled vehicles and we Frankensteined them back together with rebuilt titles. In fact, my truck out there is actually the first vehicle I've ever had that didn't come from there.
No good.
Yeah. It's the only clean title vehicle I've ever had. Well, when I brought my buddy to his recruiter's office, I'm sitting there and all of a sudden the recruiter starts talking to me. So I'm like, I'll bite. Let's see what you got. I'm thinking, life's going nowhere fast. I'm working 2 dead-end jobs, minimum wage. Like, let's see what the Marine Corps has to offer. And like all the other ones, I took the bait.
He pulled out a big old shiny bright object.
How did he sell you on being a reservist? Was your buddy a reservist?
My buddy was, but I couldn't decide if I wanted active duty or reserves. So he's like, I'm going to put you down as a reservist. We can change it. Just let me know. Well, I completely forgot about it until I got to boot camp. I'm like, shit. So by the time I realized that I really would prefer active duty to just get this party over with.
Yeah.
I found out the process to change. I was like, nah, no thanks. I do enough paperwork as it is. I don't want to do that.
Then they want to tag extra years onto it, all kind of other different stuff, yada, yada, yada. Turn your 6 years to an 8-year contract and all this other different craziness, yeah.
So that's how I ended up as a reservist. But like I tell everybody, I did more active duty time than reserve time.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, you did 2 combat deployments to Iraq. I mean, you're a Marine.
Yeah. And in fact, the buddy that got me into the Marine Corps, he was starting to get disappointed because he's almost at the end of his enlistment. He ain't deployed yet, and I'm getting ready to do number 2, which I'd actually turned down a 3rd deployment.
Because of course you were the jack of all trades in the unit at your job. Of course they want you to extend for another one.
Well, this was actually 6 months, not even 6 months after the first deployment. I got a phone call saying, "Hey, need to have a talk with you." I was like, "Okay." I said, "I'm at work. Hang on a second. Let me go tell the boss man. It's Marine Corps calling." And he said, "Battalion's putting together a truck company, nothing but motor T, and they want mechanics." I said, "Do I have a choice on this one?" He goes, "Actually, yes. You do have a choice on this one. So you don't have to if you don't want to." I said, "Dude, I haven't even been home 6 months from the last one." I said, "And do you know what it did to my family?" Right. Seeing that letter come in, and they knew where I was about to go. I said, "It's one thing for me to go, to be voluntold that I'm going. It's a whole new beast for me to tell them that I volunteered to go." I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I said, "I'm not doing that." Yeah. I mean, I didn't say it that nicely. I'm not going to repeat what I said to him.
Yeah, we try to keep it 13 here.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And what I said to him was definitely R-rated.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was definitely R-rated.
I can only imagine how tough a job that is as the officer with a bunch of reservists trying to find volunteers to go and do something, because we're telling you to pause what you've got going on in your life to go and do this, and then
you put your life on hold when that comes down the line.
Yeah,
and you just hope and pray you're lucky enough to resume life when the hitch is over.
Yeah.
What's your life like when the third one's asked? Well, do you have kids by this time, or do you have a wife by this time, or? Oh
no, I was single all the way through.
Well, I mean, you had all the rest of your immediate family that was wondering what was going to be going on with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I told them that they wanted me to do a second tour in 2006.
That didn't go over well, Matt.
They said, "Well, when do you leave?" I said, "I don't leave." They said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I have a choice." I said, "I'm not going." I told them no. I said, the only way I would go is if they could guarantee a promotion. And they said, "Dude, we can't guarantee that." I said, "Well, I'm not going then. It's off the table, so don't even bother me again about it." They said, "Okay, no problem." And then, so I was still dealing with the mental side of trying to come back home mentally. That you never, you never truly come home.
No.
Because there's different.
What was I saying? We were saying that before, right?
Even now, like I've been out, January will make 15 years that I've been out.
Okay.
15 years that I've been out, 13 since I was discharged officially. And there's still smells, sounds that'll trigger memories. Some good, some not good. And I've noticed different little things I do subconsciously that as a result of being over there.
You're nose blind to a lot of the stuff that you do, and other people see it.
So you haven't listened to our pilot, but I'll go into as much as I can remember this analogy that I threw down. So you were raised, and you were brought up. I was brought up in a religious family, so I've got this cement foundation, right? And then I go through high school and I do all my stupid stuff, playing football, all this other different stuff. So I build up kind of my character a little bit, right? But I go to the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps wrecks that character development. Anything else I got. So they've got me laying these cinder blocks, right? So the cinder blocks are on top of the cement foundation, and the cinder blocks are the Marine Corps, right? And going through deployments, training, missing the birth of kids, missing birthdays, missing family members, missing death of family members. My grandpa dies, and then I get shipped off to Iraq. It seemed like every time somebody died while I was on deployment, different stuff like that would happen, And while that's going on, these cracks are happening in all these cinder blocks that are like the foundation of what I believe, right? I love my Marine Corps. I'd do it over and over again, a million times. If it was up to me, I'd have done 20 years. I got dealt a different deck of cards, and I played what was dealt to me, right? So I played the hand in front of me. Anyways, so all these cracks in the foundation, what you should do is, build some supports and be able to repair those cracks, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm blessed with the fact that now I'm able to build some supports and repair some of those cracks. Like, I missed my son's birth, but I'm able to spend good quality time with him now, Like, I was late getting here hanging out with y'all today because I was at the gym with him, right? Good quality time. And I think that's what's going to repair that. But it's never going to fix the fact that I missed his birth because I'm in Iraq, Things like that, there's nothing that's going to fix it. But that's the best analogy I could come up with, is like, there's nothing that's going to fix it, and there's nothing that is going to completely correct what it is, but I can find the coping mechanisms that help me move forward with it, and each individual thing and what those coping mechanisms are. Like, I'll never have a chance to sit down and have that conversation. My grandpa did 22 years in the Marine Corps, right? He was in Vietnam. He was in Korea. I never had a conversation with him about anything he actually did Marine Corps related, right? I told this to Kevin the other day, the Army recruiter almost had me sucked in, like I swore, like, the military is the way to go.
This part.
Yeah, you did.
Army almost got you.
Yeah. He was late showing up to my grandpa's house. We were sitting back there having a beer, and the Army recruiter showed up late.
That's right. Yeah,
so then my grandpa tossed, Army recruiter showed up like an hour and a half late. About an hour into it, sitting in the back porch with my grandpa. He's like, "Is this Army recruiter supposed to show up or what?" and he tells me, if you want to do this right, you might as well join the Marines. And he was fucking right.
That was the greatest day of his life, because whatever he was thinking, he was going, this kid's going to be a Marine either way. Isn't this a great day for me?
Right.
Yep. Yeah. I still remember the day I told my parents that what I did.
I'm a Marine.
And I suckered them into it, too.
Did you?
Because, see, even before the Marine Corps, I had my ways of going into stealth mode. Just dropping off the map.
Yeah.
Keeping people off my trail.
Didn't we all think we could do that?
Oh, no, I was a pro at that already. Marine Corps just made me even better. Because that's another funny story for another day.
Louisiana country
messing
boys.
with my neighbors because of Marine Corps tactics that I learned.
That's Louisiana military families.
I told them I was going to my buddy's house for the weekend.
Okay.
And a buddy of mine lived a few miles down the road. And they said, okay, no problem. So I called my buddy up, told him what the deal was. I said, if they call you, this is what you tell them. He goes, okay. And I said, trust me, I don't know if you screwed it up. And remember, I know where you live. I know where you sleep. Keep that in mind. Me and him used to mess with each other all the time like that. So while they thought I was at my buddy's house, I was actually at MEPS doing the deal.
Wow.
Because I was like, I had to take matters in my own hands, and I figured, you know what, if I don't do something now, I'm not gonna make anything out of myself. So I figured, you know what, let's join the Marine Corps. That'll give me some time to think about what I want to do. And
Tell me again, that was 04 or that was 05 or 06?
This was actually 03.
This was 03.
03 is when I started.
And you were at MEPS at 03.
And I did.
Did you go down to MEPS in 03?
I'm trying to remember. I think so.
Because I
think it was toward the end of 03 because I graduated high school.
I'm going to ask everybody that ever comes in here. Was there a doctor there named DeLurch? He was a huge, tall doctor.
Was he old? Was he old as hell? And his glasses were about the size of 3-liter Coke bottles.
And he was very, very tall. He was the tallest guy.
He was kind of hunched over, bald as hell.
By this time, he was that old.
Okay,
Lurch, that very tall, very, very tall.
I don't remember how tall, but I remember the
New Orleans MEPS.
Yes.
Oh, it had to have been Lurch.
Yeah.
His nickname was Lurch.
Really weird looking dude.
Really weird.
Creepy as hell.
Very creepy. Yep,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
That's Lurch.
Yeah, because
somebody knows Lurch. All right.
Yeah, because I stepped on the. Do you remember the mirrored box?
You stepped over to look at your shit.
Yeah, the mirrored box to check your arches.
Oh, okay. I thought
on your feet. Yeah.
No, that was okay.
Yeah, because he looked at my arches.
And spread your cheeks.
No, I didn't have to do that.
Yes, you did.
Not bullshit.
Hey, Marines don't lie about that shit.
I mean,
don't tell.
I mean, hell, I'm not bashful. There's no shame in my game. If he wanted to see my butthole, I would have showed it to him.
Right, true.
I mean, you can keep that in if you want. I don't care. But anyway, I'm not bashful. I'm not bashful. Never have been. Never will be. Oh.
You didn't get... All right.
What?
I don't know. I guess, yeah, the treatment was different, I guess, then. So anyway, the box... You got the box with the mirror.
Yeah, he goes, dude, if your arches were any flatter, you would not be... You would be going home right now.
So you got next to flat feet?
About as close as you can get to being flat-footed without being flat-footed.
No, okay.
Oh,
saying if his toes were webbed, the ducks would be jealous.
Well, now my wife says I have the feet of a monkey.
You pick up the towels on the floor and hand them to her in the laundry?
Mm-hmm. Like I can come in from the grocery store, both arms loaded, kick one shoe off, reach up, grab the doorknob, turn it, kick the door open. You know, hey, you know the drill. You will get all the groceries in one trip, or you will die trying.
You will die trying. They're coming out of that car
every time.
But anyway, all right, got back home after everything was said and done at MEPS. Like, it's a done Tom turkey. I done swore in and everything. It's there is no turning back. And I told my mom and dad and they needed to come in the living room. I had something I needed to tell them, and my dad's looking at me. He's like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "What did you do?" Because he could tell I was up to something, which I was always coming up with some harebrained idea. And I said, "Well, I kind of did something today."
And he probably knew.
First of all, I lied to y'all. I was not at Will's house this weekend. They go, "Where the hell were you?" I said, "I was at MEPS in New Orleans." They said, "What the hell were you doing there?" I said, "Well," the way I look at it, I said, y'all both know I'm working for Doug and Mr. Jimmy. I'm working at the feed store for Mr. Jimmy and then doing parts and shit for Mr. Doug. And I said, y'all both know those are two dead-end jobs. Life's going nowhere fast. So I need to do something, and I need to do it now. I said, so after much thought and consideration over the weekend, I was in New Orleans, and I enlisted in the Marine Corps, and I leave in a few months. So my mom, she didn't take it too well, and my dad was, he really didn't know what to think at first, but ultimately he said, well, do your best. That's all you can do now.
Right. And
my mom, well, she was just begging me not to go infantry. I said, no, you ain't got to worry about that. I did good enough on my ASVAB to stay out of the infantry.
Little did she know how they work in the military.
Yeah. Well, I got lucky, and I didn't have to go in open contract. I was able to actually choose my MOS before I started, because I hear so many Marines now going in open contract. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I wouldn't. Because
it's all about that recruiter. Just so the same thing you said about you being a reservist or being active duty. I mean, whatever he wanted to do, like, I'm not sure he can mold me into whatever little billet he needs, And you know, if he's like, dude, going open contract is the way to go. You're gonna go through boot camp, and then you're gonna be able to pick your job after boot camp. You don't need to pick your job now. You can wait. You can think about it. You can pick it later. You know,
surprisingly, he didn't do that.
But if they were to feed you that line, all you have is this big believe button in front of you, like, Marine, yes, okay, I believe you, recruiter. No,
Yeah.
they're not gonna let you pick then. They want to slot you for that job now so that they know how many more people they need with different ASVAB scores to fit all those slots.
So tell us a little bit, and our listeners a little bit, what open contract is, and let me expand on what I think it is. Is it the full metal jacket? You're infantry. You're this. You're this. You're this.
You're going to graduate boot camp, and then you are going to feel the needs of the Marine Corps. You already feel the needs of the Marine Corps as it was. I was telling you about how I showed up after 2.5 years of school, and then I was in PMO guarding the gate for a year at my air station because all the MPs were in Iraq. So, you know, so you already feel the needs of the Marine Corps, but it's even worse than that. Like, your billet feels the needs of the Marine Corps where your contract. So in the Marine Corps, you're actually, well, this was another awesome perk was, you know, the Army wanted me to go down to MEPS, test in MEPS, sign up to be in the Army, and then they were going to help me choose a job once I signed up, right? The Marine Corps, the recruiter was able to tell me, hey, look, I've got this job for you. Here's the bonus for it. Here's all this stuff. If you pass all your stuff at MEPS, I've got this job locked down for you, and this is already yours. You're signing for it, and whenever you complete all of your qualifications for it at MEPS, you know, with your test score and everything else, and you pass your physical, this is your job. You're slotted to go into this job, and everything else is slotted there. So from then, they're like, okay, we have all the people who are going to work on this exact aircraft are going to go through boot camp at this time, MCT at this time, and be in Pensacola at this time, so we can teach them the basic training. Then we're going to send them to the platform to work on.
I got you.
Right. Okay. So that everything's just kind of laid out as simple as possible. Well, with an open contract, whenever they have a shortage of people to be field radio operators, because who wants to be walking around with a target on their back?
Battery operated drone.
Right. So whatever it is, and I'm sure maybe the recruiter gets an attaboy for the amount of open contracts he continually swindles people for, right? I mean, it is what it is.
Surprisingly, though, my recruiter didn't try that stunt with me. You know, he asked me, like, what are you into? I said, tearing engines apart, seeing how they work, put them back together. I mean, I somewhat take pride in being able to strip a 5-horse Briggs and put it back together in an hour. Right. I mean,
just an impressive feat.
Well, it's kind of what happens when you grow up and your dad owns a small engine repair shop. You could literally do it blindfolded. But he asked me, you know, what did I like? What kind of stuff did I like to do? And I said I love turning wrenches.
So what was your childhood like? Let's get a little bit into, you know, what was that cement foundation of yours? Were you real religious growing up?
Religious. Yeah, I went to church a lot. I was actually the sound tech at church. I started out on a little 8-channel board, and then eventually grew up to a big 32-channel. That was a learning curve running a 32-channel board. But if I wasn't in church or school, I was usually hunting or fishing or going to some sort of motorsports event, be it drag racing, monster trucks, stuff like that.
Basically, your normal country boy raised in Louisiana.
Louisiana country boy is exactly what I was thinking.
Yep. Yeah. Walking around. Yeah. Got a couple of squirrels or a couple of rabbits hanging out of my vest. Yeah. Shotgun slung over my shoulder.
That's a good living there. Absolutely.
Not much different than now. Only I would say I live in the city now, so I can't exactly walk around like that without pissing somebody off.
Getting close to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nah, that's all right.
But that's why I like going to my mom and dad's house and my in-laws. Still country way of life.
Anything from the Marine Corps, from a history standpoint, from an emblem standpoint, from I like relics. I like seeing things, and things are meaning to me. Is there anything that holds some type of value to you that is like, you've got a deployment plaque on the wall, you've got an Eagle Globe and Anchor that was from a promotion, you've got a set of chevrons. I mean, what is something you have that is dear, that brings back one of those core amazing memories?
I remember when I picked up Lance Corporal. It was in 2005. It was in Iraq. I actually have 2 Lance Corporal promotion warrants. One was the one I received in Iraq, and then I have the other one that was from stateside. And I think out of every document I have, the one I got in Iraq is the one that if you try to touch it, don't. Because that one it's got sentimental value to it.
I hear you.
Over,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
That's the one.
diplomas and stuff from all the other schooling and whatnot that I did, but just that one. The hell that happened in that time frame, the hell I went through in that time frame. So that one just holds a little more meaning to me than the rest of them. And
that makes sense. Can you remember in the Marine you had pin you? Awesome.
Yep, I remember both of them. It was Captain Watson and Major Kaufman. And I remember after the promotion ceremony was over, I got to undergo the tradition being pinned. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But you should know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Now it's considered hazing.
Ouch.
Well,
Ouch.
yeah.
I'm like, it's tradition. Well, y'all get patches.
No. We were still getting pinned.
Oh, okay.
They changed.
Well,
They changed to it a little bit.
Well, see,
It went across the whole board. They stopped it. I know what it is. I know exactly what you're talking
with the Marine Corps
We get it too.
rank insignia, they conveniently sit right over the top of your collarbone.
Collarbones. Yep.
And this guy was actually my vehicle commander, and we were good friends. It was Luke Davis. I still remember that big ogre. He walked up to me, and I hadn't had a chance to put the backings on yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, you see him ball up his fist, and he goes, "Congratulations!" Bam.
Mm-hmm.
And the prongs going in didn't hurt. What hurt is when I pulled them out, and they made an audible pop when they came out of my collarbone.
Yep.
That's when it started hurting a little bit, but no big deal. And the rest of the day, I had 4 little blood spots on my camis.
Yep.
And somebody's like, "That's hazing." I said, "No, it's tradition."
That's tradition.
Shut
what
up.
you talking about?
It is what it is. It's just one of the weird traditions of the Marine Corps.
One of many.
Yes.
One of many.
There's
Yeah.
so many weird traditions.
Well, I mean, that was something that surprised me with Kevin here. I was going over, what the Globe and Anchor means and a bunch of different traditions the Marine Corps has, and I was looking at him and I'm like, are there any traditions in the Army? I mean, what is it? I still don't understand. What is this Army of one? Does that mean that all of us together are stronger together, or am I invincible? I'm Superman all by myself. I don't need anybody else. What the hell's this Army of one bullshit?
I think it moved.
We don't care about anyone, so we're going to leave you in country for 12, 15, 18 months? I mean, is that what the Army of one
That's
is?
the good question. Yeah, we were there way too damn long, whatever it was. I mean, I can surely remember a time where I was blanked out after about 9 months. 9 months, it's like, you're not going home. I don't feel like I'm going home. I'm just like, we're scoping out other sides of the country. And
He was in the Army 10 years, went on one deployment for 12 months. Like, what kind of crazy, like, I understand the Marine Corps is small and we rotate a lot. And I mean, I went on 4 deployments in a 7-year time span once they decided that I was done filling other billets and doing other different stuff, right? But I mean, my deployments were all 6, 7, 8 months, with Harriers, depending on what was going on. I think even my my last Afghanistan deployment was all of like exactly 6 months to a T.
Well,
like we almost went less than that.
Well, but the one I went on is the one that if other soldiers went on, it was the one. Remember I said it's,
Oh,
it was the
yeah.
push.
No, I know.
MREs all the way for 6 or 7 months.
No,
It's
I'm-
young women trying to cover themselves up, going to the bathroom.
No,
you're driving through hot zones. And
I'm aware.
You're pissing or pooping in your truck.
Yeah,
You're
no.
getting out by your truck.
No. I'm not trying to take anything away of it,
no,
man.
No, I wanted to explain to the people and the people
Of course.
that know what that was. That was an entire year. This should have been a rotation. We had tons of soldiers we could have rotated out. What did we go in with? 200,000, I think was the number that we made the initial invasion with. So, and 3rd ID and 4th ID was rotating out on those, and I would see them go out, and I'd be like, I'm still here. There goes 3rd ID, and then there goes 4th ID moves in, and then we didn't see the real home stuff coming in, the subways or the whatever. Well, there was none of that crap going on. No.
Come on, man.
No, there was.
You ain't got a green bean coffee?
We had hot water. That's why I was surprised when he said about the water and getting the water cool. So water was delivered on a pallet from wherever it was off of some plane and sat in the sand. There wasn't even a lot of stuff to even contain.
Al-Assad just has pallets of water set all over the tarmac, man.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, Al-Assad, the only difference of home and Al-Assad was beer. We didn't have beer. Other than that, it was just like being home. Only it was like being at home and the temperature's 140 degrees every day.
Yeah, it was definitely hot every single day.
Actually, my second deployment, we actually had the thermometer hit 150 degrees for a couple hours one day.
Yeah.
One time. It only did it that one day.
It's real dry heat.
Oh yeah,
You're not
tell
sweating.
people it's
Okay, yeah. Calm down about this dry heat
you
shit.
don't go to the bathroom. It's weird. No, you don't go to the bathroom for a week. Like you don't go take a piss, and you're going, what? What's going on?
the only time I'd go that long without using the bathroom was MREs were involved.
Again, Marines treatment, first deployment treatment. So you didn't have underneath your armor this thick layer of salt that came off of your shirt?
Not normally, no.
No, you had the frog gear you put on underneath your armor. That was
Well,
lighter.
we didn't have the frog gear until the second deployment.
Yeah, well, my first deployment was actually your second deployment, the exact same time frame. So I mean,
but those frog shirts. Oh my God!
What a lifesaver in comparison to having to wear full camis underneath it.
Well,
yeah.
No, I'd drink.
Some of us, it got to where they would let us wear flight suits.
Okay.
So we would just wear skivvy gear under the flight suit, and
I'd go completely nude under the flight suit. I don't even care, man. That's the way I worked out on the flight.
I had
line.
underwear on and a skivvy shirt.
I hear you.
That's it, and that was a dramatic difference.
I hear you.
I mean, it was still total bullshit, but it was.
Our days
not the pile wasn't as deep, so to speak.
Yeah, us Army guys, we stayed out in the heat, so we were.
So is there a story behind the Army of One, or it's just their random thing?
You're just looking at a commercial. I mean, you're gonna go from whatever MOS it is going on, and while we share a lot of differences, we share a lot of similarities. So, as I was trained, and I told you I was trained before on heavy equipment and explosives, I was still out riding patrols. I've got that training. I'm still a soldier of that.
Derrick, I know Kevin's in the Army, and this is kind of boring, but let's not try to yarn at him again, okay?
Sorry. Sorry.
Well, you guys sound like buttercups because I was sitting out in the heat, and I got 3 or 4 days without any piss. I'm drinking entire camelbacks of water and liters. You're trying to drink the whole hot liter of water to go down.
I got some more stories that'll counteract that.
I put it this way: the shirt that I had that I brought back before I lost in the 2016 flood, I lost everything in the flood. So, in fact, don't ask me about the question about what I treasure because I lost everything in the flood. That's a very sore subject for me. But I still had one of my last camo BDU tops underneath my armor. Was when I pulled it out and I set it to the side. It was my last one. It was a thick layer. You could see the white. It looked like you just poured salt all over the top of it, and it dried over the top of it.
Yeah, there was there
were 3 days without going to the bathroom.
On the first deployment, like I said, once we started operating, the map section was rolling. But there came up, I can't remember what the name of it was. They needed, it was a massive clearing op. Like, I want to say it was either battalion level or regimental level. Like, it was huge. And they didn't have enough infantry units, so they started putting together provisional infantry units to go do the mission. And, well, because of my performance as a turret gunner, I got selected, and they told us to pack for 6 to 9 days for the op. The op turned out to be almost 3 weeks long. Now, basically, we're doing infantry patrols, clearing, found some very, very large weapons caches. Now, at the end of the day, when I would take my flak off, my green skivvy shirt was white. My socks, I would take my socks off, and about 20 minutes after I took them off, I could lean them against the wall.
They'd stand up. They'd be
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when we finally got back to Al Assad, I took all of my skivvy shirts, all of my underwear, all of my socks, threw them in the dumpster, and went to made a beeline straight to the PX, bought all new stuff, because it was so the salt content in my skivvies were so bad, there was no possible way you would ever get that out completely. So I just cut my losses and threw it all away. Went and bought new stuff.
I just remember not going to the bathroom for like 2 days.
Oh yeah, there were times where it would be 2-3 days because we would be so busy with the op, we just did not have time to stop.
Your body's just constantly hydrating, rehydrating like you've never known before.
Oh yeah, I would.
Weird. I go to the bathroom today.
I would drink anywhere from 2 to 5 gallons of water a day.
Oh yeah,
every day. Now sometimes I would supplement. I would do half and half, like half water, half Gatorade. But for the most part, really didn't have Gatorade powder too often.
Gatorade there.
So I said, you would think drinking that much water, you'd be pissing left and right.
You'd think so,
but
yeah.
Your body's absorbing it faster than you can drink it.
And your mind's telling you, I just drank all that water. Where'd it go?
Yeah, like today, actually. It got brutally hot today. And I lost count of how much water I drank, but my body was absorbing it faster than I could drink it.
Yeah. I remember 3 days in, I drank all that water. I'm getting a little concerned. I haven't gone to the bathroom. Am I going to die? Bullet's going to get me or I'm going to die. Yeah, dehydration was a big factor, and heat casualties was big.
Oh, they would.
That was often. They would drink all they want if they weren't prepared for it. They'd drop out. They'd drop out like flies.
Let me go ahead and change course real quick.
Okay.
Where were you on September 11th?
Walking into my second period financial math class my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And our teacher, it was Coach Fort. He was an Army vet, and he would always start off class every day by telling us some funny story from when he was in the Army. And we walk in, and he was stone-faced, like he's dead serious, and we're like, uh-oh. We're all looking around at each other like, what happened?
Yeah.
'Cause he's not joking today. Something bad done happened. And he turned on the television that was in the classroom, and he told us what happened, and we were all like, wow. And we actually saw it when the towers came down. And that event, I had been toying with the idea of doing the military at the time, but I wasn't 100% whether or not I was going to do it or not going to do it. But when 9/11 happened, it's like, I'm doing this.
Do you know kids in high school right now, they all don't have to take the ASVAB? They get to volunteer if they're going to take the ASVAB in school?
I didn't know that.
And if you volunteer to take the ASVAB, then a recruiter will come talk to you. But if you don't volunteer to take the ASVAB, the recruiters don't even attempt to hustle people in schools. Wow. It is ridiculous.
Oh, I remember that was always the cool part.
Yeah.
Seeing the recruiters set up in the common area.
Yeah.
Like, all right, first off, what kind of free shit can I get from this guy?
Exactly.
And that's when they try to start suckering you in. And Surprisingly, Marine Corps recruiter never came to my school. It was either Air Force or Navy. Never saw Army, never saw Marine Corps.
Yep, me too.
So we're building consumers now. We're not building patriots. Building a country of consumers.
I guess.
That's the way I see it.
I guess.
I mean, if you're not fit to serve your country
I mean,
in some capacity.
As of right now, my daughter's, it's a K through 8th grade school. This is the first year since I've come back that they're not having a Veterans Day program. So, don't know what the hell that's all about.
Wow. Yeah. Then there's nobody to light a match to that. Nowhere to be found.
Slowly heading that direction, huh?
Yeah, that's not growing in the right direction, I don't think.
No.
I'm of the sort of, you hit 18, you go do a couple years someplace.
Yeah.
Anywheres.
That's always been
something.
That's always been something I've always said, that when you graduate high school, mandatory 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, even
you pick the branch,
nah.
but mandatory 2 to 4.
Even if it's in a state, right? Even if you're in a state going up and you're saying I'm giving 2 years to my state and federal level.
You want to know the best part about that, right?
So still there.
So either you get accepted to college and you do the reserves because you're in college, right? And then it's that way, right? Or, and since you're doing the reserves, your school's paid for. Or you do the 4 years worth of active duty or whatever, and then on the backside, your school is still paid for if that's the direction you want to go in, right?
Yeah,
and we still now we have a country to where you can give everybody the benefits of the VA loans and all these other different things to help them get into these houses and, you know, break into the economy that exists without doing anything. But on top of that, we'd have to reinstill the fact of, you know, proper diets and people working out and people getting into a military type shape whenever they're in school. You know,
it's an interesting balance.
The health and fitness
on a big
element
on a scope that's, you know, you magnify it out on the big level. It's an interesting balance. You don't want to build a military industrial complex for continued fight because we want peace. But at the other hand, I'm going to have a lot of shocked people if it comes to another time coming up in the future, which it will come, when people don't know a thing about trying to pick up for their country or defend their country or what level they're going to have to go back through.
I mean, you think back to drafts and everything else, and you talk about the greatest generation because they all got drafted and then they all come back and took care of what they want to take care of afterwards, you know? I mean...
Cycle repeats, does it? I can get the balance of it. Yeah, I mean, as hoorah as I am and we are, yeah, I want everybody to go and I want everybody to serve, but I don't think we should be on a level to be continually combating against any kind of foes.
World peace. So if you did that, you start to lose the ethos, you start to lose the hunger, you start to lose the fact of what makes a warrior a warrior, because now you're forcing them into it.
That's what
instead of you having that person who decided I want to be a Marine.
Yeah, that's what worries me, the breakaway. So we try to take the balance away, right? We want to be on a more peaceful side, but you're saying we lose that tradition. We lose the Marine tradition. You lose that Army tradition of why it was valuable.
Well, you lose the ethos of what you build that gets you to buy into the fact of you are that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I look at the Marine Corps the same way I look at Dragon Ball Z, right?
I don't know what that is, but okay.
You don't know what that is? All right.
Anime stuff.
It's an anime, right? So Prince Vegeta,
Atari.
the Saiyan race, right? Pride above everything else. The pride for the Saiyan race is my pride for the Marine Corps, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logical sense. It might be my downfall in times, but that pride is what will carry me through, right? I mentioned relics. I've carried my grandpa's Marine Corps ring with me everywhere I go. And, you know, it reminds me, hey, look, I'm a Marine. Hey, look, this is how he's attached to me. That's probably the only thing that I've got that's kind of helping me cope and helping me heal and helping me. And like we said before, you're never really going to heal, right? You're going to be able to find things that help you cope and move through situations. And that's all there is to it.
No, no, yeah.
Any final words, Derrick? What you got, babe?
Well, you were talking about coping mechanisms, and I was telling people, it's funny. One of the things that caused all my issues is actually one of the same things that I used to calm down and screw my head back on.
You want to go into some detail with me about it?
Like long range rifle shooting.
Yeah.
It's like, it's completely chaotic, but when I lay down behind the gun, and I'm looking 800 yards, 1,000 yards out, it's like all the bullshit from life just disappears, and it's just me, my gun, and the target. It's like I can think clearly, and I'm for those couple hours, it's like I'm totally free, and I'm in my own world, and I'm comfortable, and that's one of the coping mechanisms. I do that, and I do the dirt sprint cars now as well, and it just helps me get my mind off of the bullshit.
Yeah.
So basically, being a Marine, you built up this really high tolerance for bullshit, right? Like we have a real high tolerance for bullshit. But whenever that that canister starts to get full, we know it's time to go and do something that's going to help us reset, re-zero, and act like nothing ever happened and nothing's wrong in the world. Because somehow the Marine Corps has taught us to just brain dump everything and keep moving because there's priorities, there's things that need to be done.
Bottle it up, deal with it later.
Put it in Pandora's box, right?
And open that box up at a later date.
Yeah.
And that's like whenever it gets to that point for me, that's when I get on the hook, text my long range shooter, my long range shooting instructor, and hey, I'm coming out. I got to get some range time.
That's awesome.
Just blow some steam off, because it's oddly satisfying when you're sitting there and you hear the gong at 1,000 yards. You're like, yes. Although when you look at your bank account, it's not so awesome. But hey,
price per round. Click, click, click.
No range fees. $125 an hour for this range, or $900 a year to have a membership. It's not cheap. Although that's been my hobby, is custom guns. I don't go buy guns.
Hey, $900 for peace of mind every year sounds like a great investment to me.
Right.
Well, that's on top of the $4,000 rifle I'm taking out with me to go shoot, or like I plan on doing a night hunt this weekend to go bag some coyotes.
There we go.
Hopefully, and I custom built a night rifle, and I think I've got 4,500 tied up in it. And I said that's my piece. That's what keeps me sane.
Of course,
is building custom guns and being around motorsports in some way, shape, or form, be it monster trucks or dirt track racing. It's like I just took my daughter to a monster truck show over the weekend. And I'm getting her into shooting. So I'm working on doing a gun for her, because she's only 6, but she's already shown an interest in firearms. Awesome. And at the same time, I'm getting into bow hunting. So, I'm not going to say what my wife has said about my hobbies, but she said, do you think you could find a cheaper hobby? Because you're spending a little bit much.
The answer is no.
I said, what are you talking about, my 308 that I built? She goes, yeah. I'm like, I said, hold up, I'm going to stop you right there. I said, I was trying to buy a Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum. Couldn't find it. You told me to build my 308, and I told you it was going to get expensive. So blame yourself. And I said, if you think this is bad, wait till I order the custom-built rifle from Zachary. She said, how much is that going to cost? I said, I'm not going to tell you that number. And I'm not going to say that number on air, because it's a little more than a normal person would spend on a rifle.
All right.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's definitely, it's well into it's almost in the 5-digit range.
Well, how about that? What you got for me, Kevin? You got any final words? Any words of wisdom?
Sleep over there.
I'm just reflecting. I'm thinking about you Marines, and I'm thinking about us soldiers, and I'm thinking about the similarities of just this cast here talking about how we were brought up as kids, and our fathers and our family members around us teach us to take training and train your mind to overcome what your feelings are. Mm-hmm. And then we acutely train in the military to dominate it totally. But when we get back, or when there's this expansive amount of feelings that can't be held captive from a deployment or from some type of issue, it's what do you do? And it's good to hear Derrick assimilating to what he does and putting it across as an escape. You know, we all have them. Miners, motorcycles, you know.
And I think one of the reasons that it took me so long to process the things that I saw and did on my first deployment is because I just kept it bottled up. Like, you know, just like what the Marine Corps would tell us to do, bottle it up, deal with it later. And I just never dealt with it. And then...
You can't be broke.
Yeah.
We said this on the first podcast, that when I first got back, we didn't have, I was asking about triage. We don't have a triage.
Well, nobody can afford to be broke. You can't afford to break down.
Where's your bone sticking out? You need to go back, get in line.
Put some duct tape on it.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
When I had my back broken, I was looking at, film about fractures in my vertebra and expansive amounts of damage in my back. The only thing I said to myself was, I'm not telling nobody. I was young enough not to tell anybody. I was on my last part of my tour, and it was
my right hand.
It was very confusing time.
If you feel right about there, you can feel an indention in the bone. Mm-hmm. I broke this hand in Iraq.
Suck it up and drive on, huh?
Yep. And what I did is I was jumping out of one of the MTVRs one day because shit was going down, and I jumped out, and my hand hit the step, and I felt it. As soon as my hand hit the step, I felt it. And did I say anything to anybody? Hell no. I just reached in my pocket, grabbed that bottle of 800 milligram ibuprofen that was in there, took 2 of them, and took a big gulp of water, and got back to work, because I said, I'll deal with that later.
Those ibuprofens, they work miracles, man.
Oh, those things are awesome.
They sure do.
And I told my wife a funny story. I said, if I was bored and I really wanted to do some psychological warfare with people, I said I would take I'd grab my bottle, get 2 800s out, and then down it with a Red Bull. And I said, people would look at me like, the hell is wrong with you? Are you hurting that bad? No, I'm just thirsty. And I said, I'm surprised I don't have liver issues.
Oh, we all do, man. We all do.
You got to be careful with them.
Oh yeah, I don't do that anymore. She won't let me do stupid stuff like that anymore.
We're old now. We got to take care of ourselves with what we got left.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, I just made 40 in August, and I'm looking at a double knee replacement.
Mm-hmm. So, me, you, and Joe were sitting and talking with the new recruit the other night. And you brought up the fact of that Joe was talking about sitting around smoking cigars and stuff and listening to music and drifting back into that mindset, right? And the deployment mindset, and not really that it makes him feel bad. It helps him remember the feeling of being bulletproof, the feeling of that adrenaline, right, rushing through. Yeah. Is that part of a coping mechanism for you? Is just turning on a certain song or anything like that? Because it reminds you that you've been through a time and place and you're bulletproof, and it doesn't matter what temporary thing you have going on now, that you can definitely cope with it and deal with it, and the range time's just up the road.
Yep. One of the things that really takes me back is fireworks.
Okay.
A lot of veterans don't do well with it. Me personally, I love doing them, and I do the big stuff. Like, I'll rattle your house, and I'll give the neighbors PTSD. because I swear to God that one neighbor moved right after I did one of my big shows, if you will, because I do the big artillery shells.
Yeah.
5-inch, 60-gram shells.
Yeah.
And the wife saw me just looking around one night after, I think it was a New Year's, and I always go big. Neighbors come out like, "Hey, you doing fireworks tonight?" "Yeah." "I'm going live in about 10 minutes."
They set up some lawn chairs and watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we were all done, but you could hear it all around where I live at, and my wife just saw me staring off into space. She goes, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Just listen." She goes, "Okay, what about it?" I said, "That's what a night in Iraq sounded like." She's like, "Are you going to be okay tonight?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Trust me." I said, "It's not bringing back bad memories right now." I said, "It's bringing me back to a time where I felt 10 feet tall and bulletproof, like I was invincible." I said, "I'm good. Trust me."
Recapturing that feeling is part of coping. Is understanding what you've got to do to feel that way and realize the fact that, you know, you are this warrior that has been built and that you are that way. So, I mean, the military does a great job of building that in us. I think we just somewhere lose focus on the fact that it exists. And those of us that are here to talk about it make everything better for everybody else around them by giving them these coping mechanisms, by helping them out.
And I learned the hard way, it's the worst thing you can do is bottle it up. You'll never be able to process and move on if you don't talk about it. Because I got into a knockdown, drag-out argument with my parents after my first deployment, and I feel bad about it now, what I said to them and the way I acted that night. And I said, "You weren't there.
Yeah.
You'll never understand." And I just walked off. And a few days had went by, and I finally had time to think about what I did, and then we sat down in the living room again, and I said, "Obviously, y'all know I went through some serious stuff, saw some things, did some things that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy." I said, "As much as I would love to let y'all help me work it out," I said, "you'll never be able to because you weren't there.
Yeah.
You didn't experience it yourself." I said, "I've got to kind of do this on my own."
Well,
And that's like it. About a year ago, me and the wife had a incident, you know, partially related to everything that went on in the Marine Corps and whatnot, and that's when I finally realized it's not working. I can't do this on my own anymore, you know, because I was always I was going to be hard-headed and try to do it myself.
yeah, that's a Marine.
Yeah, it's just Marine Corps mentality. I'll do it myself. And I looked at her. I said, "I need help."
We all do.
I said, I'm tired of fighting." I said, "I need help, big time." So I had found a new primary care doctor. Had a little talk with her, and sadly, I got on medication, but that was the best thing I ever could have did.
I've been there.
Because I can stop the meds whenever I want.
Of course.
I don't have to wait for the doctor to tell me when to stop or keep going. She told me I can stop whenever I want. But I've noticed a difference. Like if I forget to take them, I revert back to my old self, and I don't like that.
Okay.
Like I get very agitated, very easy. I snap at people. Yet when I take the meds, just on cruise control, life is good. And I said, it's all remnants of being in Iraq. I said, and Marine Corps in general. I said, because they train you for all this different stuff, but they don't train you how to turn the switch off when you get out.
No, there's no.
And I said, when you get out, I said, they'll give you great medical care and all that stuff while you're in, but I said, once you discharge, bye.
Yeah.
You're shit out of luck. You're on your own now, bud. I said, so you got to figure it out on your own. I said, which I don't like that idea, but it is what it is.
It's surviving. There's not really. There's not even a map for it. There's not a.
You literally just have to figure it out as you go.
It's survival.
Yeah,
it's just survival.
Like I said, even though I've had all these problems from being deployed and being in the Marine Corps and whatnot, I said I would not trade those experiences for nothing.
Right.
Because I said, no matter how screwed up they were, they are who I am. They are who I am today.
Right.
Because of those experiences. Cool. And I said it was very humbling, to say the least. So I said I would not trade those experiences for nothing. Because, I got to do and see things before I even turned 21 that most people only dream about doing and seeing. But now it's just getting life on track, which over the last year I've made leaps and bounds getting right again.
Well, hopefully we can be here to support you through it all, and that's part of it. It takes a network, and we're building that network out.
Divine Creator will keep us on track as well.
And that's what this Ethos of Silence is all about, the silence of speaking up, saying, hey, look, it's okay to get help, make sure we talk with a professional, make sure we connect with our families, make sure that we take care of each other, because if we don't take care of each other, somebody failed somewhere.
Yeah, that's why the other night at the meeting I said why I joined the VFW is because when I got out of the Marine Corps, when I took that uniform off for the last time, I was like, I'm not going to lie, I got a little teary-eyed taking the uniform off that last time because I was like, what am I going to do now?
What do I do now?
I'm like, for the last 6 years of my life, I haven't had to worry about anything.
So something that's helped me with the taking the uniform off, and I don't have enough time to do it as often as I'd like to, but with the Marine Corps League, actually going to Marine funerals, standing in uniform, and reading off to them, and all the other different stuff, and the entire ceremonial process to the 21 gun salute. It reminds me of being in my dress blues, putting my grandfather in the ground before I went to Iraq, and it is a emotional moment, but it is rewarding in the fact of seeing a brother home.
Yeah, I did a few funeral details myself when my first year in. I think I did 3 over at the National Cemetery in Gulfport, and that was a very sobering moment.
Yeah.
That's actually where I learned to fold the flag ceremoniously, and I said, you don't know pressure until you're folding that flag in front of the family and friends, and you can't screw it up.
Right.
Ain't no messing up that one, no.
Oh, no, that's why when they first told me I was doing this detail, I did probably 5 or 6 dry runs at the unit folding to make sure I would nail it the first
Of course.
time.
Sounds like a Marine.
I got one for you. I played taps when I buried my great uncle, World War II vet, and folded the flag.
Almost had to do taps.
Played it on the trumpet.
The problem is, one of the Marines that was supposed to go with us to do this detail, they ended up not being able to make it, so we had to find somebody else to do taps for us. And I had the job of folding the flag, and the sergeant that I was with, he would present the flag, but I had to fold it, and I viewed folding just as hard as his job of presenting.
Sure.
Because you gotta know exactly what you're doing. You gotta nail those folds just right.
And presenting it to that family member
nerve-wracking.
It's definitely an art form. The entire process is an art form, and it is beautiful to watch.
I do not, after having done funeral detail, I do not envy the
Honor guard.
The body bearers, the
Pallbearers.
the Marines. They have a group that does specifically funerals. I can't remember what they're called because I watched a documentary on them, and they were showing how they train. Like they'll take they train to basically take the casket and hold it like at arm's distance. I said I do not envy those guys, and I couldn't imagine that being my sole purpose in life is doing funerals. Because I mean it was rough. The one that really hit me was I want to say he was Vietnam Marine or maybe in Korea, but only 3 people showed up to his funeral. Myself, the sergeant, and the funeral director. That one hurt, seeing that.
Yeah.
And that was actually the first one I did. So, that is definitely not something I volunteered to do. I didn't do funeral detail unless I got voluntold because that was just hard to do.
That trumpet, I remember playing that trumpet. I couldn't mess up a note. I was replaying taps and the pitches and the seconds on the counts for each note. It was one valve you're holding down, but it is so quiet, and it is the quiet that you'll never hear anywhere else except at a detail with the family there. There's nothing like it. From the start to the end, there's no feeling like that.
Well, the camera just went out, so
Perfect time.
guess we'll go ahead and wrap her up. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for joining us today. We will now have a moment of silence for our departed comrades and for those missing in action and those held as prisoners of war.